Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for clicking on the video. Let's get right into this 2K26 news. In this picture, you got some VCR tapes at the bottom with dates. Those dates, it's the week the information is going to come out, so not the day. Just remember that and see if you can find some Easter eggs in this picture, but let's not wait too long. Let's get right into this video.
The first one, higher difficulties are going to play with green or miss jump shot timing. Now, when we say higher difficulties, that includes most competitive multiplayer modes that many of you all play. So in those modes, you're not going to see early or late releases going in on those difficulties, which I think is a very welcome news to many of you. Second thing, the shot meters and the dunk meters are both going to show you your green windows in 2K26. That was a point of feedback that came up a lot, and even as the year went on, I kept seeing that many weren't getting used to the new 2K25 shot meters, especially slashers. I gave that feedback a lot. So in 2K26, the meters are going to have the green windows again. One more thing here, layup timing is going to be permanently enabled in multiplayer mode. That means you're not going to be seeing real player percentage layups go over you anymore with someone that's just tapping a button. All the layups need to be timed in those modes. But those of you who are newer to the game, we do want to clarify that you shouldn't think that you aren't going to be able to make a layup anymore, because this is not meant to make it really hard for you to make your open layups, but rather to separate the really good finishers from the weaker ones, and definitely to make sure that there's more skill involved.
Maybe not most anticipated, but highly anticipated. We're going to be talking a little bit about the MyPlayer Builder. All right, I know a lot of people want to hear about that. And first, we got build with new insights. I really wonder what that means, Evan. Break it down for us.
All right, let's explain this a little bit. So, obviously, one of the first things many of you do in 2K is you go into the builder and you experiment, right? That is such an important part of every 2K for you. And the dev team has taken time to add more previews and more quality of life improvements to that process. So there's going to be multiple things that we can talk about later, but one example that we can share today of what that might mean is a nice little addition that you can now preview the body types that you'll be able to unlock right from inside the builder. Because I've seen many people make a build, they save it, then they go and check the body types, and then if it doesn't have the ones they want, they back out, tweak it a little bit, check again, and repeat. That's kind of time consuming. So you will not have to do that anymore. You will be able to see the body types before you are done with your build. And that is just one example of some of the improvements to the builder, some of the quality of life upgrades that we're going to talk about more later in the summer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So another one that I see here, staying on the topic of the MyPlayer Builder, is fresh playstyles year round. Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. Fresh playstyles.
Yeah, so of all the feedback this year, it has been consistent that many people in the community love Capbreaker, right? In case you weren't locked into 2K25, you don't know what that is. What Capbreakers do is they allow you to improve your build even after you finish making it. So you can make the attributes even better, and then that unlocks the badges and animations, and then your build continues to stay fresh. So today, we can confirm that Capbreakers will be back in 2K26, and there will also be other new ways to improve your builds and earn those cap breakers that we're going to talk about soon. The other thing that I saw a lot of positive feedback on this year was the takeover system, where you have 5 levels that heat up automatically, you don't need to activate it manually, and then a takeover ability at level 5. That system at its core is back, but it is more in depth now. So there are some new mechanics, and the progression is also streamlined. So unlocking takeovers and the pure amount of takeovers and special abilities or takeover abilities, that is not going to be as intimidating anymore in 2K26. So we're going to talk about takeover and Capbreaker soon, but for now, they are back and they are much improved.
Okay, interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to hear more about those takeovers. But as we keep things moving, I think this right here was something, again, that the community will talk about throughout the life cycle of like any 2K game, and it's MyPlayer build diversity. So yeah, what are we talking about there?
Yeah, so build diversity is really important, and the dev team has been working hard to ensure that whether you have a short build, a tall build, or somewhere in between, that there are ways that you can be effective on the court. So when we get to the full 2K26 builder reveal, or when some of our creators have their hands on the builder later in the summer, you will hopefully notice some of the changes that are striving to hit that goal of build diversity. But that is it for MyPlayer for now. There are many, many more details that we just can't share today. I'm excited for what's coming up though.
Starting out with Triple Threat Park. What do we have going on there?
Well, Triple Threat Park is back. It has been a very fun first year in 2K25. And look, I know Park is not something many My Team players are used to, but as the year has gone on, I've seen a lot of streams where people are squatting up with some friends and they're really having fun in the park. And even if you don't play My Team, let's say you're a MyCareer player, you spend all year running the same 4 or 5 builds, if you jump into Triple Threat Park right now, there are so many My Team cards you can pretty easily get, and you only need one if you're playing co-op, and then it's basically like playing Park with NBA players. So I even saw someone last week, they've hit level 40 almost every season in MyCareer, and they posted how they realized that they've also earned a ton of powerful My Team cards at the same time without even knowing it. So because of that, they were kind of able to jump into Park right away with some My Team friends. But anyways, that is enough about 2K25. That's just my view on Triple Threat Park, or 2K26, which is what you guys want to know about. When we do get to the full My Team reveal, there's a couple things you can look forward to us talking about. First, there is a new location for the Triple Threat Park. So the rooftop has been awesome, but we do have a different vibe this year to keep things fresh. There are also new ways to play with or against other people in the park. So you can squad up with your +1, play new formats that I'm not going to spoil today, but I will say I have seen them be requested often by the community. So little hint for you there. Lastly, in the park, there have been changes to rewarding with community feedback in mind so that you can earn even more rewards throughout the Triple Threat Park, but we're also going to share more on that in a couple weeks.
Team, we also have King of the Court presented by AT&T. Let's lock in. I know a lot of the My Team fans are excited for this one, so let's hear what we got.
Yes, My Team players, I want you to pay attention to this one because I know you're going to like it. But there's 2 things here to cover. One of the biggest points of My Team feedback that we've heard this past year is how King of the Court was only for a few hours on Saturdays. So if you were out of the house, maybe you work on Saturdays, or maybe you're just in a different time zone where those 4 hours were in the middle of the night for you, and you probably couldn't consistently participate, right? We get that. So in 2K26, the dev team has worked on making King of the Court more accessible. Now it is going to take place across the entire weekend to give you more opportunity to play. But the other thing about King of the Court is a very, very big one. Because in addition to competing for big amounts of VC, the winner across PlayStation 5 and Xbox each weekend is also going to be competing for a cash prize of $10,000. So we are going to share more details about all of that, but in short, there will be a cash prize for King of the Court winners in My Team on the weekends. I am very, very excited for this. I hope our competitive community feels similarly. Even now, very often I'll come across like a My Team YouTube channel or social account or something, and they still have like NBA2K23, 250K qualifier, something like that in their bio. So I am hoping to see some great streams, some great videos on the weekends from the King of the Court this year. So you have to use SGAs and Mellows cards. And by the way, if you don't have those cards, you can get them with that locker code right there on the right side of your screen. And if you complete that challenge, you get not only an invincible Devin Booker in 2K25, but you also get a Series 1 option pack and a mystery special pack waiting for you in 2K26.
Personally, my favorite mode, we're going to be talking about MyCareer. And what do I see here, Evan? Does it say a new MyCareer storyline? Is that what we're getting here?
Yes, you are correct. So MyCareer is a really important mode to us because so many of you love playing in your NBA careers. Makes sense, right? Who doesn't want to make themselves, put them on an NBA team? It's fun. So this year, the dev team has spent time building out a full prelude story that is called Out of Bound. Title of it? Now, we're not going to spoil how the story goes, of course, but what we can say is that there are now more consequences to the story games and your choices. So, for example, if you've got a game and your goal is to outshine your opponent, but you fail, your agent might not be able to get you the best opportunities because you didn't pass those objectives. So it makes things more interesting. And personally, every year, I still start with MyCareer for at least a few hours before I go into multiplayer in the city and all that. So I'm excited to play through this Out of Bounds storyline myself. Hope you guys are as well.
So where will you go in the NBA draft? It looked like the draft is back.
Well, ultimately, you want to get drafted to the NBA, right? I don't think that's a spoiler. I can say that. The draft is also an area of my career where I've seen brought up a lot in feedback, because it seems like half the community wants to get drafted and half want to pick their team so that they can go to the Lakers and play with LeBron and Luka. Or if you're like Stacks, picking the Knicks, of course, playing with Brunson over there. But our dev team has done the best of both worlds in 2K26. So this year, you can be drafted based on your performance and how well you fit each team. Or you could also bet on yourself. You can pick a team to do a private workout for and try to convince them to draft you instead. So the decision is up to you whether you want to get drafted or pick your team. And I think it's a pretty nice solution to that feedback where we saw both ends, people who wanted to get drafted and people who wanted to pick their team. Now you can do what you want.
Dynamic banners.
Yes. So what does that mean? When teams win championships, they obviously get to hang a banger up, right? Our cover athletes, Thunder Squad, they're about to do that in a few months. Well, now, as you win titles, you will see championship banners actually live in your home arena going forward. So the dev team put a lot of love into this feature. They have carved out a dedicated section in each arena for these banners. And as you play out your franchises, you are going to see all the years of championships hung up there. And the presentation is going to spotlight it to show the hopefully many years of championships you've earned. If you can't win one, you're not going to get one. But hopefully you have many, many years of championships to show up there in the rafters. So we don't have a visual today, but we were going to show you all how this works in August.
Hey, perfect. We also have more customization with unranked MyGM.
Yes, so last year we brought back MyGM, and even pre-launch when we announced it, during our Q&As, people were asking about an unranked option. So we didn't do that last year, but this year we do have that. And in the unranked version of MyGM, you have a lot more freedom. So you can import custom rosters, draft classes, essentially really fine-tune your settings. So last year, if you thought MyGM looked cool, you were interested, but you got turned off by the lack of customization, we think you'll really like this one. Did we forget about the city? I see many people in the chat have been asking us to get to this. Hurry up and hurry up. Well, we are going to talk about the city a little bit. And I did want to talk about it first a little bit in general, because in years past, we've heard the feedback about how intimidating the city was, right? We talked about this before, and 2K25 was a huge step to actioning on that feedback. I think I personally noticed it right away this past year, and I think much of the community did as well. Now, we want to get you on the court faster. So this year in 2K26, without showing you the city, because we can't do that just yet, how I would describe it is it's even more intimate, it's even more accessible, and you can get wherever you want to go really quickly to further build on that big shift last year. So if you've heard the words the city come up before and you thought about that really big map with streets and turns everywhere, that is not how the city is now, and I think you're going to really like the one in 2K26. But what sneak peeks do we have for the community, Stacks? Because there's a very cool one here.
Yeah, so first up, it says there's even more ways to flex and show off in the city. Tell us what that means, Evan.
Right. So all of you in the community love to flex. When we get into August, something you can expect to hear about are multiple new ways of how we're putting a spotlight on players. And one that we thought we would be cool to talk about today, as an example, it's not too big of a spoiler, is our new mode leaderboards. So these rank players by the most wins in places like the theater and the rec. And the cool thing is the top player each day is going to have a big 12-foot statue of their MyPlayer built outside of that mode's building. So if you are the #1 player that day, whenever somebody walks in, you are going to be looking down on them, kind of intimidating them. So that is just one example. We can't talk about the other new additions here just yet, but you will hear more very soon later in the summer. There is one more very cool thing though, Stacks, that I have been waiting to talk about.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. So this one right here, in terms of people that play in the park and stuff like that, this is probably the #1 thing. And I noticed like a theme throughout this thing is a lot of community feedback. But it says right here, the park gets a makeover. Evan, we need to know what's going on with this.
All right, so we're going to end on one that I think many of you will be really, really happy to hear, because the park is getting a lot of love in 2K26. And we want to call out now that the new designs are focused on more natural and more grounded environments. Because the feedback about what direction many of you want to see the park environments go in, that has been heard. So this year you can expect to see designs like ones that are more similar to courts that maybe you might see in the real world. Maybe in your cities or neighborhoods, you might see courts like these. And one more thing here on visuals is that there are also new lighting improvements and a fixed time of day. And the benefit of that is that it should reduce the amount of harsh shade and harsh sunlight that you may have noticed in the past when you were playing. Both of those things, I am sure, are very welcome news. I keep seeing those brought up. So, Stacks, I hope the community is happy with them. I see a lot of W's in the chat. That is something that we've been waiting to say for a while, that the scenery in the parks is going to be more natural and more grounded, and the lighting improvements should make the harsh shade and the harsh sunlight a little bit more accessible for you all, less of a bother when you are playing. But Stacks, that is going to do it for our sneak peek. I think the community got some nice little information.
We got some nice little information. Appreciate that. But I'm most looking forward to the smaller parks, more realistic parks, and also the pure green window. It seems like that's coming back. But let me know your thoughts down below. Appreciate y'all watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. But I'll see y'all next time. Peace.